if we're together, we're in a relationship, you have these beautiful female friends. How do you want me to react to that? Like, should I be trying to build a friendship with these ladies that are your friends, or should I be respecting y'all space
Okay.
and
I'm
boundaries?
I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you.
You always are.
Okay. I need you to be mindful of the movements of everybody involved in the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Men are not the most intelligent when it comes to reading signals
Okay.
and reading the room.
Or do y'all be ignoring stuff? But
A little bit A, a
okay.
little bit of
Some
B.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll say a little bit of A, a little bit of B. Okay. Sometimes we're oblivious to some of
Play
the
dumb
signals
with
and
me.
things
All right.
that go on. Other times we just, like you said, we'll play dumb where we're like we know what she on, but we ain't on that
Right.
with you.
Right.
Right.
Be
Which is
mindful.
good.
Be mindful. As a woman in your intuition, I always tell a woman, go with your first cup. If you feel like this relationship or this friendship can be problematic, address it. Address it in a more calm, mindful kind of a place. I feel like every relationship should have moments of conversation of honesty, whether you do it every single day. One thing I used to love about my mom and dad is they will have coffee talk in the morning.
I love
And
that.
coffee talk in the morning just consists of them just sitting down talking about everything that's going on, whether
Mhm.
it was something they sent on the news, whether it was work related gossip, or it was just them basically, in so many words, early podcasting, like
Conversations of
whatever
honesty.
conversation of honesty. This is a moment in time where you're in a more neutral space and you get them and you ask them. It's like, hey, I seen, you and Michelle, y'all been friends for a long time. How'd that relationship start? Like, what's the friendship there? Learn the history
Okay.
because sometimes friendships are trauma bonds.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just, we grew together as an individual. And other times there may be intent and
Yeah.
bring it up. I was watching the last episode of Grownish before it goes on its break, and one of the biggest things that stood out from that episode is Junior and a young lady who early in the season kind of had a thing for each other are now just friends only. Um, but everybody around them knew that their connection and their friendship was a lot more than just that. But because, like you said, your friendship was more important, they were doing things on a day-to-day basis that anybody on the outside looking in would assume that they were the couple and not the two individuals they were really dating. So as they
Ah.
got ready to plan their summer because they're done with school, Junior's
Mm.
girlfriend broke up with him, and she broke up with him because she felt that their friendship, so the girl he was friends with, was a little bit too inappropriate for her, and she couldn't deal with that from a distance. Because as those two are apart and you don't have that time to spend together,
Right.
you're not going to stop the bond and the space that you and girl B have already created.
Mm.
And it had nothing. And the thing, and the crazy part was it wasn't until after the breakup happened, and he goes back to his circle of friends, okay, his
Right.
honest circle of friends, and he tells them, "Hey, me and my girl just broke up because they feel like me and girl B are a little bit too close," and like that's a shock to me. And it was like, "No, it's not. This is obvious. This is not news to us. We seen it." It was even one of his best guy friend was like, "Yeah, I'm actually surprised y'all stayed together as long as y'all did." So sometimes we don't pay attention to see what's going on, but you as the girl find out what that is. Find out where she is in this. Why is y'all bond so strong?
Okay.
Because it could be something traumatic, or it just could be there's a relationship there that neither one of them has openly admitted to. Because sometimes just having that conversation was like, hey, I think Lachelle kind of likes you, fam. I think she's actually not liking you as like she wants to be in a relationship with you, but I feel she's gotten comfortable with the amount of things that you two do together that she won't pursue her own relationship because you're feeling 97% of the void.
Wow.
And that happens sometimes.
That definitely does.
That does happen sometimes. So I'm not telling you to break up the friendship of that, but
Right.
be a little bit more aware because now they can have that conversation where it's like, hey, I don't think maybe we need to minimize our socializations,
Boundaries.
set boundaries. That's really where
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with all of this. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, find out what his boundary levels are with his friends.
Mhm.
Because some women can be disrespectful in the boundaries,
Yeah.
and other ones can respect them once they know what it is.
Is this someone that was friend zoned previously, or is this a real friend that can probably help our relationship?
It actually both can, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I feel like more so find out what his boundary levels are.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, I have so many women here on my staff.
Right.
One of the biggest things I have told everybody whenever we first started working is I don't date people I work with. And I have people on the staff before
I don't date people on the show.
where we've had the conversation. Oh, you're a handsome young man. It's like, hey, you good? And as the shows are recorded, conversations are being had, and we're talking back and forth over the table or just talking in general, we come to find out that we have a great connection. But I put it on the table like, hey, I don't cross these boundaries, because when you're on my network, you work for me.
Right.
One, you're not gonna Me Too me. I ain't big enough to be Me Too, but you ain't gonna do it.
It's
Prepare
coming.
myself.
It's coming.
Two,
well, not the Me Too part, but the big.
right, right. I'm like, damn, fam, just put that out there. No,
clarification.
and two,
clarification
if
on
I
the
set these
podcast.
boundaries early, it becomes a more respectable boundary.
Yeah.
By setting those boundaries, now
You
the women
respect it
who
as
work
a leader. Yeah.
now, exactly, respected as a leader, and now this becomes a safe space.
Amen. It's
Oh
safe.
yeah, I
That's
don't
what
want to
I'm
be
here.
on insert other network over here because the men all like this. But when I come over here to TDR, all the men are respectful. There's people in their spaces. One can be playful at a time, but it's still a safe space.
Yes.
Tone is a phenomenal leader. He's a phenomenal listener.
Yes, he is.
My business now has more of a positive energy to it
Yes, it does.
because I won't cross those boundaries.
Love
And then number
it.
two, whoever I'm at home with, they don't have to worry either, because they know, even though Tone is at the studio from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., nobody during that 12-hour time frame affects what's going on at home.
That's good.
And that's creating that boundaries.
Boundary.
And when she met all the staff, and when she's met all the people I work with, because she will be at events too in these particular scenarios, she'll see how everybody interacts. And so when I say this person is my biggest headache, they know why I say that.
It's not me, is it?
If you were my headache, I would have said you might. Those who are my headaches know that they are my headaches. I have told them they are my headaches. It's a different, but they're not a headache in a bad way. I always tell people that. So boundaries.
Yeah.
Find out what his boundaries are
Right.
in these scenarios.
Right.
And then during this time frame of figuring out their boundaries, establish whether or not this is an individual who's good for your soul.
That's good.
Because
That's
him and
very
her
important. Very
can have a
important. Good
connection that
soul.
matches them, but you and her might not. So don't force
How do you
yourself in
handle
those
that?
space. You basically allow them to operate in their spaces. They are, but you set
And just trust your
limitations.
partner.
No, you set limitations with your trust. I trust that you and girl C ain't doing A, B, C, D. Me and her kind of, we don't vibe well. So if there's an event or things that are going on that she's throwing, I'm not going to go unless I have my own support.
Right.
So let's say, for an example, you and Ty, you're going somewhere. There's a girl there that don't like you. You're going because you're supporting Ty.
Why would she like me?
People have their reasons. Maybe you remind her of her mother, and that rubbed her the wrong way.
Yes.
Hey, you gave me a reason. I had to create one real quick. So you might not go to the events Ty goes to with girl C, but she'll say, hey, and Ty's like, I really want you to come. All right, I'll come if Simone can come.
Absolutely.
Because this is my
Hey,
buffer.
Simone.
You see that? That's my buffer, where if this is feeling awkward, I have this right here to
That's
balance
true.
me out.
Okay.
So you can do that as well too. You're still supporting him. He's happy you're there. He knows the vibe because y'all set the limitations.
Okay.
So when you're there, Ty knows, like, I can't focus on my friend so much.
Mhm.
I have my woman I got to focus on.
Yes, you do.
I don't know why I
Lord.
keep putting this in the air like I'm really, but just saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
using
understand.
y'all.
I understand.
I'm
I'm
using
with
y'all too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's easier for the listeners to follow if I put you
Yeah.
two together. But
My
now,
brother, though, and I'm his
but
sister.
now,
I would get on his nerves in real life.
Real life.
see how she keeps
Whole real life.
See how she keep doing that.
Well, she know
I
me too.
would.
That's for that
Doing
regard.
it.
So that's
Okay.
why
I
it's
know.
like it makes sense.
But the thing about that is now Ty is at a crossroads, and this is a lot of things that men come up with and women make the mistake. Ty has a friend he's known for a long time. They have a bond that is unmatched.
Mhm.
Ty has a woman who he loves dearly. In his heart and mind, he already said, this is his
Dating.
future.
Right.
This is his future. Y'all two don't link.
Right.
A lot of women that are dating this day and age say that hoe got to go.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, because they don't, because of their past, like you said, experiences.
Whatever.
where they don't
Whatever their
trust that.
excuse is,
Right.
she got to go. You remind me of my mama. I don't like. She remind me of my mama. I don't like her. She got to go.
Right.
But Ty's like, why do I got to let my friend go? So now there's a constant conflict with you because of her.
Right.
This is where boundaries become very important, because if you explain to him why you don't like her, and then she explains to Ty why she don't like you, y'all may come to the conclusion that y'all don't like each other for something that ain't got to do nothing with each other at all.
True. And then if y'all actually get to know each other and be around each other, you might create that
Exactly.
bond,
I
right?
have many male friends who can't stand each other until they sat down and communicated with each other and realized they're the same person.
Right.
Mhm.
That's
And
true.
that's why they didn't like each other, because they were seeing an outward expression of how they really are. But then
Okay.
when they sat down and they realized they were the same person, and the real reason why they didn't like each other, because they were both being protective of someone that they had in common, they come to realize we don't like each other because we're trying to do right by this person.
But we can all do that together.
And that is usually what happens.
Yes,
So maybe
Lord.
Ty needs to talk to his friend first.
Right.
And hey,
Talk to him, Ty.
Hey.
I don't got them problems no
Right, I
more.
know,
Right.
I know.
when it comes when we're all in this space, I notice that your energy changed. I've known you long enough to know when something's not right.
Right.
What's going on? What is the vibe, or what is the issue in this scenario? Because I don't ever want to put nobody in the position where people have to choose.
Right.
By having that conversation early, this allows Ty and his friend to have a honest conversation, which you shouldn't have no problem with, because y'all
Right.
tight, of what the scenario is. And if it's doubt, and if it's things like, hey man, I heard stuff about her, I knew this, I knew, this is what's going around. I just don't want my boy to get hurt. Now you got a choice to make. Do you approach your woman about these rumors and things that you heard
Always,
in
because
regards to
sometimes
that?
the rumors don't be
Hold on now.
valid. Jesus.
Hold on. Do you approach her about the
Ask the
rumors and things you
source.
heard, and hope that the answer you get is honest,
Yes. Lord.
truthful, and you can work through it? Or do you leave the rumors out the equation? It's like, okay, you heard that about her, but that was from a third party.
Right.
From what I've gauged from this individual, I don't believe that to be true.
Right.
What do you do? Talking to you, my guy.
Oh, you want me to answer the
I'm
question?
actually
All right.
talking to you.
And especially if the third party that you're hearing it from, you've never seen your mate kick it with, you know what I'm saying? They don't have
Well, here's the
actually have a
thing. You
true
don't know
friendship.
who your mate hung out with
Mhm.
prior to before she became your mate.
Okay, so how do you handle those rumors with a person? I don't think you look at it like that, Ty. I think you go off the relationship that you have with that individual.
Yeah, I'm not really a rumor based guy, because
Me either.
there's a lot of rumors
That's
about
high
me.
school.
A lot of them.
Right. That's
And
high
I get
school.
that.
So
But this is what's affecting your friendship, though.
right.
That's,
And it is
that's why I'm-
sometimes it is something you have to approach
acknowledge
and
yeah.
address, because sometimes, and I always, again, I'll be like, silence is the best answer. But sometimes, how you just said, in certain cases of facets of relationships, some things do have to be brought to the forefront so there can be an understanding.
This is why I like Ty, because Ty is a complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
So, like,
I feel like y'all got so much in common though. Like
He's-
for real.
his thought process is opposite of mine
Oh
at
my
times.
God.
So being able to bounce things off of him and see how he goes with it, I be loving that. That's the only reason.
know.
Only reason why I jump on the mics.
You definitely dropped some bombs and some knowledge. I want to hear about this insecurity thing that you talking about, Ty. Real quick, I know we
Well, it tied into what he was saying too.
I kind of was getting back to that. Too,
yeah,
but-
because-
Okay. No, I want because I'm curious as a woman, like how y'all see that and what he was gonna say about it.
What, the insecurity?
Yeah, like what were you gonna bring up about it?
So I was going to ask you, right? A man being in that situation, what should he do, right? Should he
Because y'all be quick to blame it on insecurities. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, for me, I look at the whole ramification, because
Right.
if I took away, I'm real big on, I would take away all your excuses first before I present this, because I don't want nothing to be excuses. I
Okay.
want the honest truth. So I'm going to look at every aspect first. So if he's in a situation to where it's an insecurity and she's struggling, with this, and she's saying, hey, cut this individual off or cut this person off you have a great relationship with,
No
right?
valid reasons. Just
Right.
her
No
own.
necessarily just personal things
Right.
she's
Just
battling,
feeling
because
threatened.
oftentimes
Okay.
how he says it can be a threat, but in terms of like, you could remind her of somebody, but for the most common thing is that women feel threatened because they measure themselves up to that woman. They see things in that woman that they know they don't possess right now, and they see
Okay.
it as competition or a problem. So for
Or
that
they
for that
see
case,
that their mate truly is attracted to them in the wrong way. That's
well,
possible.
well,
Not always
it's
the case.
possible. It's possible, but I
But
don't
we're
think it's
speaking of the case
majority.
when it's not
Right,
that.
right.
Okay.
So do he appease
Right.
the one he's with,
Right.
or do he challenge it for the sake of his friendship as well and his relationship?
Okay. So for me, I would say if he truly values that friendship, right? And he knows within himself that he would never cross that line with this particular person, even whether they wanted to or not. Because sometimes in those cases, she's seeing that the other woman wants it, even though you don't, because we have that kind of women intuition. So she's seeing that the other woman would go, but you might be in this kind of space where you're not going regardless of anything, and you value that friendship. You want to maintain that friendship. So I would um, allow you to, make your case, but I would still, as your friend, because your woman is your friend too.
Mhm.
So I would still, as your friend, make you aware that, hey, baby, I think she likes you. Hey, baby, I know you don't see her in this light. I know this your friend. You want to maintain that friendship. You're telling me not to cut it off, but I trust you. I love you. We good regardless. But I'm telling you right now, hey, baby, she likes you, bro. She likes you, honey bunny. And me being me, I know you're going to see that over time, and then you would decide if you want to cut it off or not. But if she truly doesn't like you, she truly only sees you as brother, right? Then there should not be any issue with me having a relationship with her as well. And so then in that instance, for me, I feel like, and I know we kind of discussed this already, but for me, I feel like I want to be friends with my mate's female friends. I don't think we should have, this is just me. I don't think we should have, friends that we don't know. Like, I want my husband to know my male friends. I want them to have some type of relationship. And if this is just me, if they don't have a rapport with each other, then our friendship is going to perish.
So let's say you the
That's
woman with
just
the
me.
insecurity, right? And you're dealing with the guy, right, who has to make the decision. If he makes the decision to challenge, what you're saying, in the sense to where he's not responding the way that you would like him
Right. I'm
respond,
like, he
how
likes
do
you, baby.
you
You like,
respond
no.
accordingly?
I give it time. I be patient in that situation. At the end of the day, I'm with someone I trust, or I wouldn't be with that someone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna trust him to be, and he gonna be fine. So I'm gonna trust him to be in these type of situations with these women, and I'm gonna trust him to be able to respond accordingly. So but it's still my job, as someone that has his back, to just spit it in his ear as to what not literally spit it in his ear, Jesus, but just say it in his ear as to what I see that maybe he may be blind from. You know what I'm saying? So I would give that time. I would not react emotional intelligence. I wouldn't react like a tantrum or anything like that. I wouldn't break up with him if I trust him. The only
No
the only
attitude, no
way.
nothing.
No, I wouldn't have no attitude. This is my man. This is my honey bunny. This is somebody I respect, right? So I'm going to give that time, and I'm allow him to see that for himself, if that comes out or not. And if he's telling me like, baby, you wrong, again, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have this relationship with her, right? Now, in an instant, it's different if she don't like me and she ain't got no reason not to like me, then I'm gonna kind of look at you like you being friends with someone that
Right.
doesn't like me or disrespects me. That's different. But again, I told y'all this in the beginning. This is a man I respect. If I don't respect this man, right? And he don't roll your eyes at me, Ty. If I don't respect this man, I don't trust him to be disciplined in his flesh. I don't trust him, out in the atmosphere around these beautiful women. Then I'm quick to walk away.
Mhm.
I'm very quick to say goodbye. Why? Because I don't have to be with you. I don't have to deal with this. I don't need to be in the situation where I'm connecting with a man who is not honoring who I am and honoring our union. You know what I'm saying? But if I trust that he's going to do that, then we cool. I told you about it. No attitude. I'm gonna give you time. Like, I'm not that woman that's gonna have an attitude with you. I'm not that woman that's gonna yell at you. I'm not that woman that's gonna have a tantrum. I'm not doing that. I'm at a space in my life where I can say yes or no. Yes, we rocking together, or no, you got to go. Because at the end of the day, I want everyone to be who they want to be. I want everyone to do what they want to do. My husband is going to want to do the right things. I'm not going to force you to do nothing. But as your partner, I'm gonna make you aware of what I see. And that's also me kind of seeing who you are. Yeah, so especially if we're in that dating phase, that's me seeing how you're going to respond to this. Hey, baby, I think she like you. I'm gonna say it like that. I ain't gonna be like, she like you. No, I'm like, I'm pretty sure she like you, babe. Like, what's going on with that? We'll have a conversation, and I'm gonna gauge how you operate, in that. And if you dismiss it like, no, baby, she just cool. Okay, let's go. We should all go kick it together. Let's all be cool together, right?
Right.
Right. I think we complicate things again that shouldn't be complex. And I feel like all of our friends should be all of our friends. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue with that.
I wouldn't be the type that want to be like that close with
my male friends.
Yeah, I'm not like. I mean, we can go do so every now and then, but every time I'm not
Yeah,
fit.
maybe
You know what I'm
not
saying?
every
Because
time,
some
but
things
also-
warranted space. That's y'all. That's kind of your time for you to weigh in.
Is it okay if we're in a relationship? We would never be Jesus. I know he dating. We would never be. Don't be yelling at me, okay? But who would I be able to have male friends and kick it with them by myself?
Yeah, I've never been the jealous type. But I've never been the jealous
with
type.
My male
but
friends, if I'm in a relationship,
But this what I'm saying. It goes back to trust too. I've for one never been a jealous type, and for two, if I trust you, we not, because I'm expect that same trust because I already know what I have. A lot of female friends too. You know what I'm saying? So there got to be a mutual trust.
So you're gonna.
I'll be with my female friends alone. Like it don't be.
Let me ask you a question.
Why can't we all just be friends together and go kick it together?
But what if every situation is not a kickable situation together? For an example,
This that ground talk. Go ahead.
When you at work, you create bonds with individuals you work with, right?
Yeah, I got work husbands and wives.
Sad. That's sad.
What?
I don't.
Let's just say the friends. Let's say the friends only. Okay, not the ones who got that.
I'm the only black
those
person.
Special topics.
Anyway. Right.
All right. But let's just use that as an example. Okay, let's say you work a job where 3 or 4 of your male friends work at too. Okay, so one of them got promoted. After work, we all gonna go hang out. You like shooting pool. We all gonna go hit the Romines. Let's hang out. Let's kick it.
Pool.
Okay, let's go to Romines. Let's kick it. Let's celebrate Tommy's promotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Tommy. Love you.
I just used Tommy's name.
I love
and forgot about it. No actual Tommy. It's funny. Celebrate Tommy's promotion. You call Bay. Bay can't get off work. Do you not go hang out with Tommy?
And see, I trust myself to be with you. I trust myself to be with Ty. I trust myself to be with Tommy. I trust that. But when I'm in a relationship, I would just kind of ask Bay. If Bay cool with it, then cool.
Right.
But if you go based on what you've been saying the whole show, and if you were in a relationship, your friend, you would know all your friends, and your man would know all your male friends.
Yes.
So it should be an okay situation.
Right.
In this scenario,
we all know each other.
We all know each other. He's met Tommy already.
Right.
I think the reason why I'm going
that case, if they know each other.
Right. The reason why I'm going down this avenue is we, specifically black people, we use the word friend too loosely.
That's
I
true.
agree with that.
I have
We use the word
Definitely
friends
agree with
put
that.
some
loosely.
boundaries on that word
And
recently.
we say friends. So whenever someone says I'm going to hang out with my friends without my mate, 9 times out of 10, it's my actual friends.
Right.
Mm.
I wouldn't go and hang out with
show. No
with female
frenemies.
associates
Right.
unless it's a group setting.
Right.
So if somebody I barely know, we met each other in Sherman, Phoenix, was like, hey, we're doing this kickback here at this bar. I just got a promotion come through. I'll think about it. But then that's when the conversation of who's all gonna be there. Because number one, you ain't gonna meet to me. Number two, I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I don't know who's there to be able to give me an advance of how do these people party.
Yeah.
You know, you walk into an event, you hang out with people, you think they're wholesome, you turn around, half the team done got naked and they all on the table just going crazy. Whoa.
To each his
I wanna be
own,
in.
Lord. To
Sounds
each
like a
his
ladies'
own.
night.
Right.
I know we
And I
do be
get-
having cute little pajamas and stuff.
And I get that, but it's like my friends
We
know,
do.
oh yeah, we finna go hang out at such and such bar. I don't know, Tone, this might not be your vibe. Cool, say less. You know, like your friends will give you a heads up. Your friends will put you in a safe space. What if it's not one of those wild nights and we're all getting drunk and we're having fun and I'm not sober to drive? Can I trust an associate enough
Exactly.
to make sure my safety
Exactly.
is going to be
That's
okay?
a whole nother
Not at
show, a
all.
whole nother
You know what I'm saying?
topic. Because I won't be around.
But
people
my
or drink around
friends
people I don't feel
will
safe
make
with.
sure. Tone, you drinking
No,
tonight?
no,
Yeah,
no.
dog, I need a drink. All right, cool. They know that I'm not the designated driver. So they either going to make sure I'm sobered up, or they know where my cutoff point is. That's why doing things with your friends compared to doing things with your associates needs to be handled differently. If you're with your associates and your man is not going, yes, take your black ass home.
Typically, I'm gonna be the designated driver these days. So
True, but you never know this day and age either.
I mean, that's
Anything
true.
can happen.
Absolutely.
You had a situation that we're not going to speak of that just happened yesterday. You were with your friends, you were taken care of. With your associates, well, I hope she gets home okay. It's not that your associates don't care about you.
What situation? My car accident?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying, like, look at how that could be
Yeah.
handled differently
Yeah.
between friends and
They wouldn't
associates.
care. Yeah.
Right.
My
And it's not
friends
that they don't
called me.
care because
My
they don't
friend
care
checked
about
on
you.
me.
Is
Yeah.
they don't know the limitations of what's required to get you taken care of in this
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
Whereas your friends, because I guarantee you call Ty right away if you wasn't already on the
I
phone with him.
did.
See what I'm saying? Because you
I
knew,
did.
and Ty made sure this is what you need to do.
And Simone
Are you
called me
good?
right
Are you cool?
after.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
your friends know how to take care of you.
That's facts.
Big difference.
That's facts.
I had
And I
to
also
find out
trust
from
what
Facebook.
they tell
That's
me
a whole
to
other
do.
conversation. But yeah, so
That is a whole nother conversation. I want to title a show "Friends to the End" and talk about how to select our friendships and all this and that. Man, we touched on a lot of stuff today, y'all. I ain't even weirdly didn't get to all my questions.
That's because this is a broad
This
topic,
is
like
a
if when you're
broad
dealing with
you
topic.
still have
relationships, it's-
time. You don't have
we
to end
can do
out.
it.
You can do like 2 more questions.
Okay, all right.
As long as we don't go past 2 hours, we good.
I mean, this is a long show, y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. I hope that's okay.
When conversations
that's
is
okay.
good and engaging, people will stay around.
Okay, so I really want to know this part, and I love the podcast because I feel like I'll be getting my questions answered, right? I'm learning publicly, Lord. So I know we kind of talked about me, like, raising men up in the spirit or kind of bringing them to Christ. And I think it may be different for men and women. But how do you feel? And I can rephrase this with you as well, Tone. I'll rephrase it for both, actually.
Say it as it is and let us
okay.
redo it.
So two different questions then. How do you feel about dating someone who is not where you are spiritually? How do you feel about dating someone who is not where you are financially?
You want me to go first? You go first. Nah, you went first
So-
last time. I go
I'm
first this time.
curious.
Okay.
I want to know.
Ironically, as men, we are supposed to accept the fact that women are not on our financial level. Okay.
That's why I said it's gonna be different for
That's
men
what
and
we're
women.
supposed to, because if you look at the way the whole concept of courtship began, the man had to already be at a certain level because he was taking in not only the responsibilities of his new woman, but he also had to be able to give something to the family as a fair compensation. So even though we don't trade wives for cows anymore or anything of that nature, we still are expected to be at a financial status above what our mate is supposed to be. Now, that's not how 2023 works anymore. To be honest with you, women not only want to be equal to the man when it comes to the workforce, in a lot of cases, they may actually be doing better. Okay, they may actually be doing better. So
the system is set up that way. By the way.
It is. The system is set
Set
up
up
that
that
way.
way.
That was a long time ago. Williams theory. Yeah.
So systematically, we have to be the higher breadwinner in most scenarios, or else, because let's look at it from a realistic perspective. If a young man meets a young woman in the inner city in this day and age, the inner city woman may have a kid from a previous relationship or situationship, right? I hate to say this, but I got to knock it on wood. 9 times out of 10, that woman is getting some form of government assistance. So in order for this man to be able to take this woman in and become a relationship and establish a family and a whole 9 yards on top of that, you have to bring more to the table than what the government assistance is giving this woman to begin with, because she's going to lose so much of being a single independent woman that the government is helping her out with than if you were to just become a couple as is. So you have to already be almost twice of what you need, because you got to be stable on your own. You technically should be stable on your own as a man who has his own house, car, crib, basically stable.
There was
basic
actually
necessity.
a rule called the man of the house rule, man in the house
It's
rule.
been head of household, man in the house kind of situation.
Right. If they were in the house, they weren't allowed to.
Right. And that's the thing. When it comes to government assistance, they base it based on your income. So if the man is actually in the household, he should be bringing in some form of an income. And if he is, 9 times out of 10, that income is going to be greater than what the minimum requirement is for to be able to receive government assistance. Therefore, you lose everything. So a lot of times
they threw that rule out. That was actual rule.
It was an actual rule.
They threw the rule out, but it had already did the damage.
It's done its damage. It's still the same way. It's income based now.
Right.
So they go based on how many people are in the household. And you still, even though the physical man part is thrown out of it, the income is what they're based on. So I couldn't go get a job because just by default, even if I went and got a $15 an hour job, I'm making $35,000 a year.
Right.
I'm already making way too much for them to accept me for having government assistance.
Right.
Therefore, we lose everything. We lose childcare. We lose food.
Which
we
is
lose
not
rent
enough
assistance.
for. Listen, that's a whole nother.
It's a whole nother conversation.
35,000.
Right. 35,000 ain't gonna do crap. I'm sorry.
Not
You can't, like, my babies are, my 10-year-old can't live off of 35,000, let alone an adult. Give it a buck. But because of that, we have to always make more and work hard, which is why you have so many Black people who have hustles. I mean, even though we're entrepreneurs and we have small businesses, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the entrepreneurship this day and age is really just hustles. Okay. So unless you got a 2 working family household, you're not gonna be able to do much. And even with 2 family households, it's still a struggle in regards to it. So financially, you kind of have to accept the fact that somebody might not be financially stable. Number 2, the African American community is financially illiterate. Okay. It's one of the biggest generational curses we don't speak upon, is because our parents were raised, our grandparents and then our parents was raised, don't owe nobody nothing. So they did not want to deal with credit cards or deal with loans and stuff like that.
My grandma said that to this day.
They pay bills when they can, not when they do.
Right.
So we literally put ourselves against the wall, out the door, because we don't understand anything about finances, financial institution, banking, credit, nothing. We don't understand none of that. The generation below us right now is going to be the first generation where it's actually going to be in public schools. So instead of us taking that extra stupid ass algebra class that don't do nothing for us,
which was my favorite class,
you're going to now start getting a banking and financing class. So we're going to teach you the basics about credit cards, credit repairs, stuff like that. when you look at the fact that nobody knows anything about money and how to properly save money, you're automatically going to have your back against the wall no matter what you do, unless you educate. So I'm a very smart person when it comes to my money. All right. I'm a shopaholic. I have to be smart with my money. I got to go spend it eventually. But with my mate,
Amazon.
my mate has to be someone who does know how to balance a budget. So I may make more than you, but you know how to make sure it saves.
Okay.
That's the part of the relationship that a lot of folks don't talk about. Men sit here and say they want a woman who can cook and clean. No, my nigga, you need a woman that knows how to manage money.
That's
Okay.
good.
Both of y'all can learn how to cook and clean together. You should be cleaning your damn house anyway. But both of y'all can learn how to cook. Take turns. It's a sexy thing when a man's in the kitchen cooking.
Yes,
Believe me.
it is. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I tell men all the
Especially
time.
cooking vegetables.
I tell men all the time, cook for your woman and buy her clothes with pockets. If you do those two things, your woman will love you forever.
Yes,
But
Lord. Stir
if
fry.
you got a woman who knows how to manage money, who knows how to balance the budget, who knows the proper way of utilization in regards to credit, you will always have a successful relationship, because the number one reason why
good.
couples argue
finances.
is finances.
Finances.
So if she knows how to balance the budget and you know how to make the money and you two have an open dialogue of communication, you'll never have an issue over money.
Okay. Second part
Okay.
question. What if she's super in the church and she wants you to go with her, Tone? Is you going? What's going
is-
on? What's
it-
going on?
This is an age-old conflict that I have had for years. I'm talking 4 years.
She
I
just
grew up in
wants
the
y'all to
church.
praise and worship together.
Okay,
Go
I grew
ahead.
up in the church.
Okay.
I originally came from a Seventh-day Adventist church. My elementary schools and my middle school years, I attended a Seventh-day Adventist school. So church itself is ingrained in me. But I'm more of a spiritual person than a religious person.
Me too.
My walk with God doesn't require me to have a church home to be able to do it, and that works for me. Okay. As long as the woman I'm with has an understanding that my walk with God is my walk with God, but I want you to walk with him as well too. But I also want you to know that aliens really do exist. We cool. Okay. Like, don't be stupid, but we cool. Listen to my wife. I have a wild thought process, but roll with it. We good.
Roll with it.
My
roll
girl's
with
mom is heavy into church as well too. She's Kojic. Matter of fact, her church is right down the street. She got into church because in the early portion of when we first met, she was lost.
it.
Okay. So she found church.
Speak on it. Speak
Part of
on it.
her growth and development, she did used to want me to come to church. I had a really big issue with the churches at the time because I had a conflict with the Seventh-day Adventist churches and how they handled a lot of things. And then I started, as you get older, as a black man, you start learning how you are and learn about your people. You kind of start having a conflict with the Bible itself at one point in time. What you read, what you hear, how it's presented, it can really mess with your head if you don't have an open heart to receive messages properly.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
Because any book can be misinterpreted and
Right,
used
misinterpreted
for a
can be done.
person's own
And everybody and
agenda.
people can use it for evil. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah,
So I had a real huge conflict with the
despite
church.
its true intention.
But there were times I would go for her. But then when I came to find out, I'm sitting in church and I'm here for 4 hours and ain't nothing talking to me. You up here doing everything under the sun, but you ain't moving me. So I knew right away this is not the space for me. But me and the pastor could have a regular conversation outside of the church. And our regular, just basic conversation, now that hits home. So it, for me, became the theatrics wasn't necessary to me. And I'm not saying church is theatrics, but all that extra wasn't good for me. The regular conversation with me and the pastor, me and the deacons, me and someone who was walking in the light of the Lord hits me harder than sitting in church from noon to 2. So I realized I don't need to be in the church to get my message. It works for her. That's her and her grandmother's bond. Matter of fact, they just left church not too long ago because grandma wanted to go to church. We're going to go to church. So I have no problem with that. Number 2, I've always had a job and or business that has me working on Sunday. Because when you're Seventh-day Adventist, you don't look at Sunday as a holy day. You look at Saturday as a holy day. Saturday is my day of rest.
My grandma
Even though
she said that too.
Which is biblical, yeah.
biblical,
Sabbath, yeah.
because Seven-day Adventist, it's in the name. So Saturday has always been ingrained to me as my day of rest. And if you pay attention, I really don't do nothing on Saturdays. Every job I have, I take off on Saturdays if they try to have me work on Saturdays. I'll be in the studios in the afternoon, but if you pay attention, I don't do nothing while I'm here. I'm not grinding. I'm not doing work. I'm not progressing. But as you can see, I'll be here Sunday working like crazy over here on the computer, working like crazy over there, because Saturday is my day of rest. That is the part that I honor. And the great thing about my girl's mom is she rests on Saturday too. She honors the way I view religion because Saturday is our day of rest. So from the minute the sun go down on Friday night to about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, we chill.
That makes sense.
It's all family. It's all rest. It's all relaxation. Now from 2 o'clock on, we're out and about. Whether we're working, we're here, wherever we're doing. But that is my time of peace. That is my time with God. That's my time where I love on my family and my friends, because that's what Jesus did.
Right.
He loved on his families and friends. I don't need the
Aw.
church.
Aw.
I don't need the church to have that connection.
Hey,
I
I still
got it
don't
on
have
my
a
own.
church home yet.
It's not all,
But
to me,
I
it's-
watch church all
right, and
the
that's the other
time,
thing, and that's
all
what
the
I do as the
Same every
alternate
day.
to honor her steps.
time. Yeah.
The pandemic did a lot for the community that people don't realize. And one of the things was a lot of church went virtual because of that. So now, pastor, the same guy who I can sit down and have a phone conversation and have a great movement with, now I watch his sermons on different days. It may not move me on Sunday, but I could watch it on Saturday and it may hit different. I listen to it on Wednesday because I had a rough day. It may hit different. It didn't hit me on Sunday when you said it, but it hit me on Wednesday. It hit me on Friday. It hit me on downtime on Saturdays. I'm able to get that message when I'm supposed to get that message,
Right.
not at a set time you decide to deliver the message. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can love whoever you want to. Just know that we gonna have a compromise in this religion. I'll date someone who's of Islamic nation. Religion doesn't bother me. It's how you walk with your Lord and how we can compromise our belief structure. I'm a very open-minded person. So if you come to me with some new knowledge, I'm all in to learn about it, but I'm not going to sacrifice what I already believe in. I may incorporate the two together. It was one point in time in high school, I was actually dating a Middle Eastern woman. Okay. So her belief structure was Muslim to the T.
Right.
I'm talking everything, head to toe. Us being together was like an abomination when you looked at it on paper.
Right.
But this was like my perfect mate at the time. And what I loved about her was every time I went over by her house, I learned something new. Then when it came to the time of their religious practices, I loved it. I studied it. I embraced it, which is why when I went to college and I started hanging around 5%ers, I embraced what they said too.
Okay.
Because I understood it from the Black perspective, but because I had this actual knowledge of the motherland itself and everything from the Muslim religion, I was able to put two and two together, and my growth and walk with God grew a little bit bigger.
Right.
Because I came to the conclusion at the end of the day was what you say over here, what my Christians are saying over here, and what Catholicism is saying over here, it's the same story told from different point of views.
I agree with that.
And that's really what it came down to. So, yeah, I'm spiritual, but I don't have a church home, and I'm okay with that. And if she can be okay with that, baby girl, you can walk whatever you want.
Would you go to church with her?
I would.
Oh, you said you did. Okay.
I'll go. But the only thing is, I'm gonna tell you right now.
But if it's not for you, you're not joining.
Don't
There's
expect.
nothing wrong with that.
Don't expect for it to move me.
You never know. You never know. You know?
I didn't say you never know, but I said don't expect it to.
Amen. No expectation.
Because 9 times 10, me and God had a conversation earlier that day. It's like, bro, you know I don't want to be here.
I have
Like, man, go ahead
so
and
many
go.
questions inside of me, y'all.
Go ahead. And
I
go.
like could go so many different
My bad. I
ways.
talk too much.
No. Like y'all speaking about these topics give me more questions. I think there should be a part 2 to this show.
What about you, Todd? Could
Yeah.
you deal with a woman who broke?
Could you, the first question, not necessarily even broke, but not as financially, you know what I'm saying, stable as you are.
She broke, fam.
Right.
I like how she sugarcoated. Can you take a broke woman? That's
But
what
the
she
first
asked.
question was, can you date someone who is not spiritually where you are, Ty?
Yeah, that's a good question for you, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Aw.
I appreciate that. I
Just
want
a
to touch on the
glowing-
financial thing first because that's going to be like a
Okay.
short sweet because he covered mostly because like I said, as
Okay.
men, we don't look for our women to be financially there anyway,
Okay.
because of our roles naturally. So money is never really truly a factor. Now, something that he said that's highly important was for her to know how to properly manage that money, because like he said, that's when the problems arise. And that's good he brought that up today, because literally about, I think it was like 2 days ago or yesterday, I had a talk with
Mhm.
someone about this, on how basically when I came within the heights of my financial businesses that I had, and the things that my income had went up, but I mean, I didn't go crazy with my lifestyle, but I stopped looking at price tags. If I wanted it, I had it. You know, it
Right.
was like, all right, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
But I told her, I have a sister, a goddess who she's frugal. She makes good money. Well, actually, she was on the show. She's an engineer,
Yeah.
and I always
love
tell her, like, you like
her.
extra
I
cheap,
love her. We
man.
gotta
But
bring her back.
she can coupon the mess out of something. And I'm like, you got the money for it, but it's that discipline that she
Right.
has as a wife, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, to not bring hardship upon her family. And I
Right.
respect that. And I was telling her like that's pretty much something that I need, you know, because
Right.
again, I'm financial literate. I
Right.
have the
You
income
teach
base. I
financial
did exactly. That's a
literacy.
business. So
Right.
I'm there, but I know I still can have some extra discipline that would set me up in a way better, you know, space. But so now I only invest into any of the ventures that I have going on. Then I go and buy things. So financial, from a financial standpoint, that was never an issue for me. I never really looked at it at all. I've always been a provider in any situation that I've been in. So,
Right.
and I take care of the people around me. That's pretty much how I am. Now the spiritual aspect of it is a
Yeah.
is
'Cause
an
is it
important
different
thing.
for men and women in a spiritual sense too?
It depends on where you are in your walk, though.
And that's that's important, because being unequally yoked matter. This is
Right.
why he said be equally yoked among one another, because again, when you are unequally yoked, it's going to show. And oftentimes that's the things that separate y'all are the biggest things. That's the problems. It's all those problems in between.
Right.
And if those things aren't addressed, you know, you're going to deal with a headache.
And
You're
people
going to deal
just
with a
trying to
problem.
make it work to have a partner.
Exactly. It's like you're forcing it, you know, for the sake of, it can be from loneliness, etc. Right.
Mhm.
For me, when I was in situations,
Don't date out of loneliness, y'all.
a lot of people do that.
They do.
I had to tell one of my guys, like, man, you were just bored. Like, why you play with bro like that? Leave him.
No.
And
No.
not even that was
Find
a
a
couple
hobby.
weeks. Like, come on.
Not a man. Go ahead.
So I actually got in a situation after the marriage. It was like, all right, God took me, set me down 2020, like, okay, this is what it means of what I demand a man to be. This is what I demand a woman to be. This is what it means to have a wife. This is what it means to be a husband. Right. And when I've learned all these things, divorce, separation, your individuality that affects your togetherness, these things I've learned, I was like, man, we got to be careful in who we choose. It was something in the Bible that stood out to me, right? When Jesus was speaking to his disciples about marriage, he said, you know, for man shall leave his mother and his father, right? Cling to his wife, and these two shall become one flesh, right?
Yes.
It was a revelation in that Peter got out of all the other disciples. And he said, right after Jesus said that, he said, man, it's better if a man just don't get married at all then. And he had a wife at home. He had a wife at home. They was just talking about how he just left his family and his wife and his moms and everything to come
for cows, and now y'all it's better not to have one. Everybody got time.
Because of the responsibility that we bear in the marriage, right? So the to be equally yoked
for that.
would kind of, in a sense, be almost nearly to impossible. Because of the fact that what the man has to do, God basically gave you that God role. Right. And when God compared marriage as far as the husband and the wife, he compared the husband to himself. He said, husbands, give yourselves to your wife as Christ gave himself to the church. Right. Now think about that in that sacrifice, because that's pretty much what it was. You have to sacrifice a lot of things that your makeup is as a husband. Look at God's
And
deity,
you
right?
get a whole bunch of stuff in return for that sacrifice.
I mean, we supposed to.
You will.
We supposed
my
to.
husband will.
And then he tells the woman to basically submit herself under him as the church is to Christ.
Right.
So the relationship
Power and
to
submission.
the husband and the relationship to the wife is equivalent to God and the church.
Right.
So the husband's role is to fulfill all those things basically that God basically does for his people,
Right.
for the church. He supply our needs, he take care of us, he protect, he guide us, he does everything he's supposed to do, and he stand on everything he's supposed to do, right?
And what
The-
she do? Serve.
She serves. Now again,
She's also a partner. But yeah, we'll get into that
well,
another time.
I don't believe that God made them equal at all. He did not make woman and man equal at all. I don't agree with that.
He made them
That's a new philosophy.
He made them to have individual purposes that they fulfill.
Right.
In their own.
Put a pin in that one.
It's
That's a conversation that even I want to go in.
right. Because so
Also, the role of the man and the woman, we will speak about that on another show. But go ahead.
so I came across a situation where obviously, you know, she wasn't spiritually there as much as I was, and I had to give an introduction of God, right? But how I view it is, I know you're coming in is not equally yoked, and that's fair, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm a teacher. I understand my role and the gifts that God gave me. So
I think Simon is the same way.
how often are you curious, right, within your walk? Because I don't foremost, I don't deal with women who don't believe in God in the first place.
Right.
That's a no for me.
Right.
And
because you can't trust how they're gonna operate. We need you
I
to
agree.
operate by these standards. I understand that.
And I'm not saying you have to live this perfect life, but I need you to be on that journey.
Right.
At the end of the day. Now,
I get that.
some revelations you may not have. There's some things that I can teach you, right, and get you there. And I'm
Right.
cool with that. But how much are you willing to learn, right, to get there? How much dedication, how much commitment you putting into this walk
Right.
that's going to get you there? Because although Jesus said what he said and Peter responded the way he responded, right after Peter said what he said, but some of them are born to handle these things. So there are some people who's made to handle the things that come with marriage. And then right after that, he said there are some who's not.
Right.
And through that time, you're able to identify who would be willing to put in that work when you don't feel loved and you don't feel like things are going good and it's in that rough path right now. Do you go off of the understanding that you have of this word, or are you going to go according to your flesh? That's my mentality.
Y'all be taking off. Y'all be taking off, Lord.
If I see you operating more in the spirit and less in your flesh, to me, we at a place to where we can coexist, because that's what's important to me. As long as we can coexist with one another, then obviously we'll always be there. Now, we never be here and here together in your own right. You can be, as far as on a virtuous level, me here standing on a wisdom type level, or whatever the case may be, and we coexist together and we're equal in our positions and in our own right, but never in our relationship. It's going to be impossible to be equal in that sense. But I'm gonna get off of that topic because y'all say y'all want to talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
But I'm definitely
on another
more
show on the Shine Your Light podcast. I am gonna ask y'all one final question, and this is more personal. But go ahead, finish your
But no, I'm definitely more patient when I see that you're putting in the work in that journey. And I know that even if you're not equally there with me now, eventually you're going to be there, because it's all, as far as a spiritual walk, it's just based on your understanding.
Okay.
And the more that you understand as you continue to go, the more, you know what I'm saying, you will be there. And our communication is get better based on your understanding of the word now. Your response and your reactions are better based on the understanding of the word now, because I hate to go in a situation where a woman be like, well, that's you or your opinion about it. Like, no, what do this word say? If we both agree and we,
that,
you know what I'm saying, like, this is our compromise right here.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do the talking.
Right.
The word can do the talking for you. And let's see how you respond accordingly.
Ooh. Amen to that. Amen to that. You know, when your foundation is the word, it's kind of hard to deter from that. You know, So that's good. That's good. Allow the word to be the foundation of the relationship. What did it say? It said you should love God with all your heart and love the people around you as you love yourself. Those are two main things that the word of God says you should do. And if you're doing that, then you're doing good, right? You're doing good. All right.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. So quick question. End it. I want you to speak from I want you to answer this question. Listen, y'all, like I be asking, I be getting my questions answered up here, okay? And really getting guidance and advice from my brothers up here, right? So I want you to answer from the spiritual level. Tony, I would like you to answer from the carnal level, please. Please.
The carnal level. Just say
Yes.
I want to answer it.
No.
I feel bad. But
No.
go for it. No, go. What's the question?
I mean, I could transpose it, but
No,
instead of
just
both of y'all
ask the
going into
question.
both, you know what I'm saying?
Next question.
Okay. So, how do y'all feel about this? I believe, and there's a reason why I said carnal and spiritual. I believe that when I meet my husband, and I really feel this, and I feel like I was told this, when I meet my husband, like I'm automatically going to know that that's him. Like there'll be a spiritual relationship and connection like no other. I believe not only will we be able to feel it, but the people around us will be able to feel it. And, that's something that I feel like God has told me. And I believe what God has told me, and that's just in my spirit. So on the carnal level, most people would be like, nah, Shell, like, no. On a spiritual level, some people might be like, believe what you believe God told you. So instead of both y'all answering both, y'all can switch if y'all want. But I would like y'all to, just give me your personal opinion about that and be real. Don't sugarcoat it. Yeah, don't sugarcoat it. Because I can kind of predict what y'all would say. But
what you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know for sure. I can
What do you think I'm gonna say?
I would just let you answer. I don't want to assume.
I'm asking you to tell me what you think.
I feel like you're gonna come from a practical level. I feel like you're gonna come from what makes sense, that you need to, meet this person and be friends with this person and give this time and all of that. Not saying that I'm not gonna do that, but I feel like I'm gonna know. I feel like I'm just gonna know.
Yeah, but still, you don't just jump,
I didn't
into
say
it
jump,
either,
But go ahead.
Well, that's how you sounded.
Answer the question.
All right, so
I'm here for it. Answer the question.
Since you set the
Tone, you go
expectation of what you think we're gonna say.
My expectations are from God, not from people. No expectations from y'all. I love y'all.
All
I
right.
love y'all.
I'm gonna be honest
and
with
I
you.
respect y'all. All right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think you're gonna notice your mate until afterwards. I don't
But
think
some
you're gonna.
people who got married,
I don't think
they
you're
say
gonna
they
know
knew
right away. No.
What
Talk-
you mean afterwards?
I'm talking
After
specifically
we're
you.
married.
No. I don't think you're gonna notice that your mate is the chosen one right away, like you
Chosen
feel
one.
like you think. Because here's the reason why: you have so much trauma you have to unpack.
I'm pretty sure
Hold
I've
on.
been unpacking it.
And then you have
And I
been.
feel like I'm
No, you
fully
have.
healed
Hear me out.
from the
Hear me
things
out.
that I've experienced.
Hear me
but
out.
it's
You're
been a
not
lot.
fully healed. You will tell you why I know you're not fully healed.
I'm listening.
Because there are traumas that we forget about until we are in that scenario that re-triggers it. You have a natural defense to block a lot of people who you may not think is good for you in that moment. You do.
I can only have one husband.
Hear me out now.
I'm listening.
You have a natural habit of blocking.
Block him, Jesus.
But because you have such a loving heart, such a big heart, when you feel like you find that person, you get blinded by love. Exactly. So you're either going to give all of you and be blind to the whole situation and not allow the opportunity for it to grow naturally, or you're going to be defensive and be worried about every single step and every single thing that he's doing. Because you want to have each individual understanding of why is this man doing this. Tone, why do you think he said this? Tone, why do you think he said this? Or Ty, where are we here right now? And it's not going to be until we sit here and give you an understanding of how this man is moving, or get annoyed answering all your questions and say, why don't you talk to him about why he's moving the way he's moving? it won't be until that moment when you are comfortable about asking him why he's moving the way he's moving that you will stop and look back and say, you know what? Let me stop questioning this man God has sent to me, because after doing all of this defense, I realize he's going to score and be the chosen one for me on his own. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's play this game right now.
My defense game is cold.
It is. And
It
that's why I
is.
feel like
Oh.
you are going to block the blessing in the beginning. But because God is saying, this is who I got for you, he going to bring him back
You gotta
around.
say it loud and clear. I need him to
He going to bring it back around.
clear.
He do talk loud. Y'all don't be hearing it because y'all not ready to hear it. My guy can sit here, slap you in the face with what you're supposed to be doing. And y'all would clearly be like, nah, I'm gonna go over here instead. Then he has
Or
to,
I'm not gonna go nowhere until I'm sure.
because here's the thing about me and my guy, because I had a nasty habit of doing that. He got to the point, it's like, okay, you want to be hard-headed. What he starts doing is he removes every single choice that I keep trying to think is better for me, until the only choice I have left is the choice he's been telling me to look at this whole entire time. And then once he do that, I'd be like, okay, my God, I see what you did. I see what you want me to do. All right, cool. And then life becomes so easy. Everything about everything that I'm supposed to be doing falls into place without me doing anything. Because he's removed everything that was a distraction. He removes everything that was a complication. He removed every single temptation. That's what's going to have to happen to you. So you're not going to realize.
I don't be tempted by anything.
I didn't say
I
temptation.
think women are different, but yeah.
No, y'all
I
are
don't
not.
be tempted by
Y'all
nothing.
are actually worse.
I
That's a
not
whole
with
other
Shell,
conversation.
But, yes,
But
talk
no,
about that.
because here's my thing. You will find someone who you think is perfect for you,
Mhm.
and you will go all in. And it's going to take him exposing little different things about him to let you know that this is not who you're supposed to be with.
Right.
And then
that takes time.
and that's going to take
Right.
time.
Okay.
And that's why I
I get
said you're
that.
not going to get it right away.
Okay. So that's time, right?
Don't be mad. You actually, hey,
No.
I will never lie to you.
I know, and that makes sense because you don't want to be, like almost fooled by something that looks right on paper.
Mhm.
But time reveals all things. But I feel like I'm telling you, like when Jesus was in Mary's belly,
Mhm.
and what was his cousin name that was in
John.
yeah, and he like, he was all elated and everything in the belly when he met Jesus in the belly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, it was that spiritual
Connection.
So I'm coming from a very, very spiritual level that is not going to make sense to most. I'm still standing on it, but I understand the reality of it, of even if we do have that we would still have to give it that time to figure out what it is. So I agree with that, Tone. All right, let's get it. Ty the guy, what it do? Am I tripping or no? A little bit.
It's kind of going to tie in a little bit of what he was saying, because for one, God would usually, if God going to send you a man, right, or a husband, in other words, a husband,
first and foremost, you got to be ready to receive him.
Right. He's going to make sure you're ready to receive, right? Because he would never put something together that he knows for a fact that you wouldn't be ready for, because you would hurt the guy he prepared for you in the process.
I agree.
So what he would usually do is give it to the man first, because that's the head. And kind of how you said, in terms of when the man come to you, there will be a certain response spiritually to where you would kind of get this eerie feeling or something, but you still don't go accordingly. What, as a wife or not yet made wife, you're supposed to go in prayer and get that answer from God.
That's good.
I see majority of in these cases is that when God usually send the husband, the wife be like, who is this? Right? Because now they try to look at their list,
because they don't build themselves up enough
right
to be ready, but at the same time they be like, well, I don't need him now.
Nah, it was more like they look at that list and then it's not what they thought. So because God is saying, I know what you need, and you're looking at what you want.
Ooh,
And then oftentimes
Bobby,
you
these
miss
are
your
private
blessing.
conversations that we're having publicly. Lord, don't let me miss my blessing, Jesus. Don't let me miss my
I
blessing.
actually know a woman who was in this situation.
I'm gonna introduce them to you.
The husband came. She no way, no, it can't be.
Right.
God told her, yes, this is who I have for you, right?
Yeah.
She gave it a chance. They actually end up getting married. And she's one of the happiest women that I know
Aw, I
based
love
from that.
I love
So
that.
again, what you need is not always what you want, but it's for you.
Right.
It's literally for you.
Right.
So I'll say that's pretty much how that experience is probably going to happen. And I think that kind of how what he said, I think that you're probably gonna look through that list and probably
And actually,
overlook
it's
a
so
lot.
funny that y'all keep talking about lists because before I got here, I was thinking to myself, as soon as I leave the show, I'm going to go home and literally write a list of all the things that I want in my partner.
Right.
Not only just the things that I want in my partner, but the things that I want in life. Write the vision down, make it plain. Right. So, and the reason for that is because I was listening to this pastor, Michael Todd. I love him.
Terrible.
Yes.
Terrible.
You said terrible?
We talked about this before.
I've never heard you say terrible to Michael Todd. Did you?
Go back to the messages.
You talked about another one.
Mm-mm.
We got to talk about this.
We got a
off
few.
the
Yeah.
show. Off the show, Lord Jesus. But well, that part is biblical as far as writing the vision down and making it plain. So we can agree to that part. So that's what I'm gonna do when I get home. So this has been a wonderful session tutorial. You know, really, really good for me. I want to say therapy in a way.
Right.
Really good for me, y'all. I love talking to people who I respect that can guide me and give me some direction. And I hope other people listen to this and I hope they've gained something from it as well. And guides them to how to date and how to pick their mate and who to date. Right. Thank you so much, Tone, for the situational, you know what I'm saying, the bombs that you dropped today.
We baited him in, y'all. We baited him in.
Did. And I appreciate him forever. Thank you for joining me, Ty the Guy,
Always.
my guest host and all that good stuff. And thank y'all for tuning in to the Shine Your Light podcast. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.